Hey, my name is Brent here on Cloudy of the Chance of Meeples. Today on the channel, we are taking a look at a small little card game called Combo, which I do believe is a retheming of Surfosurus MAX, a game that's kind of a competitive game about surfing dinosaurs, but this is all about making poker hands. Each player will be putting in a couple cards or a trio of cards, and then you'll collectively make the best poker hand, trying to get your cards in that poker hand. Let me show you how this plays in the radar overview. My final forecast coming up. Cue thunder. So the radar overview for Combo, a most tempting card game, looks something like this. In this game, you will be cooperatively / competitively building the best 4-card combo in a 2 and 3 4 player, or the best 5-card combo in a 5 and 6 player. So everybody gets a player aid. It shows at the top how many players. This is for the 3 and 4 player count, 5 and 6, and then it has other ones for 2-player count. I will say that in the rules, the English rules, it shows that the combos from the strongest to the weakest are super slushy, smoothie, slushy, ripe run, and sweet scraps. I will say I have the Canadian French edition that's from Randolph and Happy Camper, and it doesn't say anything like that on the player aids. It shows the highest is straight flush, same number, flush, straight, and highest number. So that's a little bit confusing compared to this, but when you typically play the game, I just say, hey, let's go for a flush. Let's go for a run instead of a ripe run. But that's just a side note. But how do you play this game? Well, it's played over a certain amount of rounds depending on the player count. And each round, someone will be the starting player and they will get this little golden pineapple. I'm going to show you 2 different hands and just kind of show you how a couple things work and how this exactly works. So typically you have 7 cards in your hand, and you every time you play a card, you draw a card. But for this example, I just have 4 cards per player, and I'm going to kind of show you how it goes. You're going to be creating, like I said, these 4-card combos. Think of them as poker hands, and you're going to be collectively working together, but not everybody is going to be able to score because everybody's going to put in a certain amount of cards. So in this case, in a 3 and 4 player game, everybody's going to put in 2 cards, and then out of the 8 cards, you will build the best 4-card combo. So how does this look? Well, imagine with me that this player, they go first and they throw a 1. You can talk about not what's in your hand, but you can have table talk. It actually says it's encouraged. It says table talk is not only permitted but encouraged. Try to coax your opponents into playing cards that follow your lead. The only restriction is that you may not share specifics about the cards in your hand. So this player might be like, you know what? Who's going to join me on ones? Who's going to join me on ones? And say it's then this player, and they say, well, you know what? I'm not going to join on ones, but I'll start working on a straight. And then player number 3, they say, you know what? I'll kind of work both. I'll set myself up for ones or maybe this flush. And player number 4 then goes and they say, you know what? I'm going to play the 3 and I'm going to go for this run because, you know what? I like that option. Come back to player 1, they play another card. And they decide, you know what? I don't actually have any more ones. And so I'm going to play a 6, and I'm going to try to get in on this flush. Next player completes the flush. 4 cards, and so they're sitting happy over there. Comes up to player, 3 over here. They have an additional 1. So at that point, you know what? They're really hoping that player 4 can, in fact, complete the 4 ones, because that would beat the flush, because 4 numbers is a higher for the same numbers is a higher combo than just a flush, not a straight flush, just a flush. And so they're gonna see if they can try to pull in player number 4 to work with them on that one. But player 4 plays an orange. At that point, you would resolve. You'd look at the best 4-card combo. And like I said, it is a flush, but there's 5 cards. And so anytime you have a flush, you take the 4 highest cards. So this player would get 12 points, as noted at the top, and it would go into the full point side. This player would flip over their 6 for 8 full points. This would be a lot. You have a 12 and an 8, because the 1s and 2s are worth the most because they're the first ones to get eliminated. And speaking of getting eliminated, this is the 5th card of the flush, and it is the lowest. So it, in fact, gets eliminated and discarded. That player scores nothing. This would pass to the next player, and they would start, and they would say, let's start off coconuts, or, you know what, who's going to join me on 11s? Player number 2. They like that. They'll join in on the 11s. Player 3, they're going to say, no, I'll join you with coconuts. Player 4, then they throw in the 10, and they say, you know what, we got a 10 and 11. We need a 9, and we got the straight. Who's going to work with me on that straight? Forget the coconuts. Forget the 11s. Let's just work on a straight. This player says, oh, you know what? I don't mind that. I'll join you. We'll also start maybe some grapes and have an opportunity for a flush that's in, or yeah, a straight flush with grapes. And then this player, they play a card. 12. So then you have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So now you have a 5-card flush. Or sorry, a 5-card straight. So again, the highest 5 cards make it into, or the highest 4 cards, make it into the winning combo. Well, this player, they just got booted out. So you know what they're going to do? They're going to play a 12. And you know why? Because anytime you have matching or tied numbers, those cards only get half the points. So in this case, this would be eliminated. These 12s would both earn these respective players half points. So instead of 2, they're only getting a single point. These 11s, again, are also half points. The 9 would be full points, and the 10 would be full points. And then you go again. In a 4-player game, you go around one time, so everybody has had the chance to be the starting player. And then you add up your points at the end. You add up all your full points and add up all your half points. Whoever has the most points is the winner. And so that's how you play combo. And if you see, the lowest numbers, 1s and 2s, are worth 12, whereas the 12s are worth 2. So the higher the number, the less points is awarded, because the higher the chance that they will actually stay in the highest combo. And so you got 6 different suits. You got cherries, coconuts, blueberries, apples, what's the other one? Bananas and grapes. I think I said all 6 of them. Numbered 1 through 12, only 1 of each card in the deck. And so there you have it. That is how you play combo. Let's move on over now and take a look at the final forecast. So the final forecast for combo, a game all about fruit. This is a colorful game. When I played it, when I pulled it out for the first time, showed my family, they're like, ooh, nice and bright and colorful. And it's kind of like, it's got this like Fruit Ninja type of vibe to it. This is a pretty light game. This is a game that's a little bit challenging to teach, I will say, because you gotta let people know that they're working together, but you want to make sure that you have the most cards in the best combo. I've played this game a boatload of times. I've sleeved my cards. I typically sleeve my cards, but I purposely did these ones because I played it like 20 times in the first week. Card quality is not the greatest, and so wear and tear were showing on these cards quite quickly. But this is a wild game. I feel that this is, I love this game, okay? Right off the bat, I'm giving it an 85% chance of Meeples. It's probably going to be one of, if not the most played game of my year. And yeah, it's only March, but I'm saying that already because I've played this so many times. I've taught this with so many people, and it's one of these games where you're like, okay, just another round. Just another round. Played a game night. I think we played like 5 rounds in a row. Again and again and again, because it's just kind of got that addictive nature to the game because the games are so short. I love the whole coaxing of bringing people in. You know, I'm going to throw down a blueberry, a 3, and I'll be like, hey, you know what? Who's with me on these blueberries? Who's with me on these blueberries? Next person puts a 4 down. Wow. I got to try to convince them a little bit more to join me on blueberries, but they're going to try to convince other people to join them on the straight, you know? And so it's got this like unique rhythm. I'll say that. Unique rhythm where you're trying to coax people, but you can't say what's in your hand. And I've seen games where, four of a kind hits, and people have put that fifth one in just to knock half the points away from people who had two out of the five cards. For instance, the ones of the two score 12 points each. While if you're in on a four of a kind with twos and you have two twos and I have one, you're getting 24 points. I'm getting 12. And so if I have the chance at maybe playing that fifth two, I might just do that. Yes, I'm going to only get 12 points, but so are you, instead of me getting 12 and you getting 24. So we're on the same playing field at that point. So you can have that. When those flushes come, those ones and twos, they're the first to get booted out because you only take the highest 4 or 5 cards in either a 5 and 6 player game or a 2 to 4 player game. And so when do you play those? Because if you start right away and play your 1 or 2 and people join, well, you're going to get booted out right away. But maybe you have a higher card to, like, say, for instance, it's, blueberries. Maybe you have a 7 of blueberries or 8 of blueberries, and you're wanting people to join you on the flush, and maybe you can sneak that one in as your second card and actually score full points for it. I've had it happen. I've done it, and you feel a little bit clever and sneaky when you're able to kind of bluff into that. You can kind of bluff a little bit in this. Like I said, you cannot share what's in your hand, but you can kind of maybe allude to it or maybe not allude to things, and get other people to maybe play the wrong card, and you can take advantage of it. This game plays very, very quick. I've played at all player counts. 6 is probably my least favorite because you play with all the cards, and at the end, you only have 2 cards in your hand. So your options get less and less and less the later the game goes. 5, I think, is probably my favorite. 4 is too short. You only play once around the table, and in a 4-player game, you only play 8 cards. And if you do not score in every one of the 4 rounds, I think you're going to lose more than you're going to win. So I hate house ruling games, but when I play with 4, we play 2 times around the table. It feels like a better time. 3 and 2, it's all right. You have a little bit more control in the lower player counts. At the same time, you're playing 3 cards into each hand, and so you have a little bit more, control to kind of get in on the winning combination. On a downside, if you see a flush or 4 of a kind or something, being like everybody's laying cards and playing into that, and you cannot play into that, you can get boxed out and you can score 0 points. That's what I said. Like in a 4-player game, if you're not scoring points in almost every round, you're most likely going to lose. And so if you see the writing on the walls, everybody else is playing cherries, you have no cherries, you're like, a flush is happening, you have no chance because there's only 2 hands that are better than the flush, and they're harder to get, right? So I can see some people not liking the game because there is still the luck of the draw, the chance of the cards, and so on and so forth. But I love this game. This is an absolute blast. Nicole loves this game, and so I love that. It just adds to it because then she wants to play it even more. And so I'm giving this one an 85% Chance of Meeples because combo is absolutely fantastic. If you like a light little card game, an opener, a filler, end of the night kind of craziness, you'll play again and again and again. It's competitive, it's cooperative, it's kind of somewhere in the middle, and it's amazing. 85% Chance of Meeples for combo. My name is Brent. Till next time, grab your umbrella. The forecast is cloudy with the Chance of Meeples.